We are diving into the fascinating world of mediumship and debunking 5 common misconceptions related to mediumship and spirit communication. A lot of mystery surrounds mediumship, a lot of misunderstanding too, but it doesn't have to be that way. So, let's clarify some of these myths and hopefully empower you to approach mediumship or connection with your loved ones with an open heart and a receptive mind. We will explore the origins of these myths and delve into the workings of mediumship and spirit communication based on the scientific information available. Myth number 1. Only certain gifted people can communicate with spirit. Have you ever heard someone say any of the following? I could never do mediumship because I wasn't born with the gift. Mediumship is genetic. Or, mediumship runs in my family. I am a natural-born medium. Or, I have seen spirit since I was a child. The idea that mediumship is genetic or a gift has roots in several historical and cultural factors. For example, ancient Greek and Roman cultures had oracles and seers believed to communicate with spirits. These roles were often handed down within families, much like a family business would be handed down. The modern spiritualist movement, which began in the mid-19th century, popularized the idea of mediumship as a special gift or ability. Many mediums during this period claimed their abilities were innate or inherited. To date, there is currently no conclusive scientific evidence to prove that mediumship is genetic or a gift. While some people might be naturally more sensitive, mediumship is less about being gifted and more about developing a skill or ability. It is a lot like learning a language or playing an instrument. It takes deliberate practice, dedication, and a willingness to express the impressions you are receiving. Everyone can tap into their own ability to connect to spirit and their loved ones. If you are doing a reading for a client, it's just a matter of learning how to express the impressions you receive. If you are communicating with your loved ones, it's important not to dismiss your experiences with them. It's also about getting into an alpha or theta brainwave state and allowing those subtle impressions from the spirit world to come through. Alpha brainwaves, typically in the frequency range of 7 to 12 Hz, are associated with a relaxed yet alert state of mind. Theta waves, which range from 4 to 8 Hz, are associated with deep relaxation and mental imagery. Research shows during mediumship readings there is often an increase in alpha wave activity. Research also indicates that theta brainwave activity increases during mediumship. We constantly transition between alpha and theta brainwave states throughout the day. Many people have encounters with their loved ones during these altered states. Every single one of us is born with the capacity to connect with spirit and our loved ones in spirit. So, if you're drawn to mediumship, don't let this myth hold you back. You absolutely have what it takes to connect with spirit and your own loved ones on the other side. Once you start to recognize those impressions from spirit, they become impossible to ignore. Myth number 2. Spirit is constantly trying to communicate to mediums. You may hear some mediums say that spirit is basically following them everywhere, or spirits constantly talk to them like a busy telepathic switchboard. Mediumship doesn't exactly work like this, and there is research to support that it is very intentional. Mediums don't have spirits stalking, pestering, or demanding a communication with them. Mediumship and spirit communication is about intention and focus. It's about setting the right internal environment and mindset to connect with the spirit world, much like you would prepare for a meditation or a yoga practice. You need to be in the right frame of mind, an alpha or theta brainwave state, and have a clear intention on the spirit world. The spirit world doesn't just disappear because the medium doesn't have their attention there. The spirit world is pervasive. The communication isn't happening unless the medium chooses it to happen. They direct their intention and attention to the spirit communicator. It's like having a radio that you can turn on and off as well as tune into the right frequency for communication. The airwaves are always filled with different frequencies and stations, and it is up to the medium to decide which station to tune into. You have to be on the right frequency to receive the messages. Spirit is always present. However, people must tune in and receive those specific impressions and communications. Again, it is about getting into that alpha or theta brainwave state, setting the intention and attention on the spirit communicator and allowing for the impressions. We have way more control over the experience and communication with spirit than is sometimes portrayed in the media or TV shows. If you don't want to connect to spirit, you merely shift your attention and intention on something else. Do an activity that will put you into a beta brainwave state, and you won't even be aware of the spirit world. Activities like puzzles, memory games, problem-solving tasks, or any type of analytical thinking will put a person in beta. It isn't about telling the spirit communicator not to bother you or putting a closed sign up so they know you don't want a communication or don't want to be bothered. They are omnipresent and ever-present consciousness, much like the air we breathe. It is always a matter of the medium choosing to engage in spirit communication. Ultimately, spirit communication can be a fulfilling and enriching part of life, just like any other enjoyable aspect of a person's life. It is not all-consuming unless the medium chooses or allows it to be. Myth number 3. The medium has no control over who shows up in a reading. This myth stems from an old 19th century belief that mediums are just passive conduits from which spirit conveys messages through. That the medium has no say, or even should not say or choose who comes through. However, this belief falls apart under scientific research and is simply based in old dogmatic beliefs. Intentional readings, where we focus on connecting with a specific spirit communicator, are a genuine and important part of mediumship. Just like you can direct your thoughts and focus your attention in your everyday life, mediums can use intention to connect with specific people in the spirit world. It's about setting a clear intention on the specific spirit communicator and allowing impressions to come through. Many mediums regularly do intentional readings for their clients. Research studies on mediumship under controlled conditions also use intentional readings. One study used a controlled double-blind protocol where mediums were given only the first name of the deceased person. The study found that certain mediums, under these controlled laboratory conditions, could report accurate and specific information about deceased people that they couldn't reasonably know. Thus, a skilled medium absolutely has the ability to communicate with the specific spirit the sitter wants to communicate with. If a medium is taught that they can't or shouldn't, then intentional readings will not occur. They will feel as though they have no control over who they become aware of. But this simply is not the case based in practice and research. Myth number 4. There is no scientific basis for mediumship or spirit communication. Indeed, the general scientific community hasn't fully embraced mediumship. However, a few research organizations and studies support mediumship and spirit communication. These include the Division of Perceptual Studies at the University of Virginia, founded by Dr. Ian Stevenson. The Windbridge Research Center, led by Dr. Julie Beischel. Institute of Noetic Sciences, IONS, which conducts research on consciousness, including mediumship. The Kessler Parapsychology Unit at the University of Edinburgh, Scotland. The Rhine Research Center and Institute for Parapsychology in Durham, North Carolina. And the Society for Psychical Research. There are even more individual researchers who are exploring mediumship, spirit communication, and consciousness. They are applying the same level of scrutiny and scientific rigor that you would find in any other field of research. Some of these organizations also explore things like near-death experiences and the nature of reality. They're finding compelling evidence to support spirit communication, mediumship, and non-local consciousness. This isn't just about proving or disproving mediumship. It's about expanding our understanding of what is consciousness. These studies often involve sophisticated technology, like brain scans and other medical imaging techniques, to understand what happens in the brain during these experiences. These studies are revealing that we're capable of so much more than we ever imagined. The human mind is mighty, and we're only just beginning to understand its full potential as it relates to consciousness. So while science might not have all the answers yet, they're starting to take these phenomena seriously. The gap between science and mediumship is narrowing, and both fields are beginning to benefit from each other's insights. It's an exciting time to be interested in the intersection of science and spirituality. Myth number 5. Mediums see and hear spirit like they see and hear with their physical eyes and ears. This is a common misconception about mediumship. Many think mediums have a direct visual and auditory connection to the spirit world, almost like watching and hearing a movie or TV show. But in reality, it isn't that literal. The process is much more nuanced and subtle. Communication with the spirit world happens on a subconscious level. Mediumship occurs through the subconscious mind of the medium and the activation of engrams in the medium's brain by the spirit communicator. Engrams are a fundamental concept in the neurobiology of memory. These are physical and chemical changes in the brain that occurs as a result of learning and experience. Engrams represent the biological basis of memory storage. Aspects of engram formation and activation can occur below the level of consciousness or subconscious level. This is how mediumship is hypothesized to work by Marie Hess. She believes our nervous system is designed to pick up on subtle energies, like those from spirit consciousness. Through her experience working in neuroscience-related healthcare settings, as a hypnotherapist and researching related fields, she has determined that this is most likely the mechanism by which spirit interacts. Mediums receive impressions from the spirit communicator via the nervous system and the subconscious mind when in trance states like alpha and theta. Mediumship, therefore, is through the mechanism of the mind of every person. It is an inside job. Quick visual impressions, subtle auditory words, feelings, and even physical sensations is how mediumship works. How the medium expresses these impressions is usually the most important aspect in terms of if a sitter will understand or not. The spirit communicator uses the medium's life experience and memories to get the medium to express their life and story to their loved one. It is the same process for personal communication with our loved ones who are spirit. For example, a spirit might communicate the scent of their favorite perfume, or the feeling of their hand on your shoulder. These cues can be potent and meaningful. It's not always a literal sensory experience, but it is genuine and ultimately, when expressed correctly, will be meaningful to the sitter. The key is to be open to these subtle forms of impressions, as this is the way spirit communicates. So the next time you think about mediumship, remember that it's not always about seeing to believe. It's about feeling, sensing, and expressing the engram impressions you receive from the subconscious. There you have it. 5 common myths related to spirit communication. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found this helpful in terms of demystifying and bringing some light on topics related to mediumship. If you found this video enlightening and helpful, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content on mediumship, spirit communication, consciousness, and related sciences.